You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Dem lawmaker torches Epstein associate for fleeing interview will be held accountable, based on an article by Alexander Willis. Leon Black didn't flee accountability. He revealed it. The room belongs to power. Leon Black is not some marginal figure being hounded by the state. He is a billionaire, a former Apollo CEO, and a longtime Epstein associate with money, access, and enough institutional insulation to treat congressional scrutiny like an inconvenience. That is the first fact the story exposes. Power was in the room with him, and he still tried to walk out of it. The committee had him under questioning about NDAs and his relationship to Epstein survivors. Black's response was not transparency, it was flight. When the rich are confronted with consequences, they rarely deny power. They test whether anyone will enforce it. What actually happened? The basic sequence is plain enough. Black appeared before House Oversight members, was pressed about non-disclosure agreements and alleged abuse, and left the interview. Rep. Robert Garcia said Black ran out of the room rather than help survivors get justice. Black has now been subpoenaed. He has denied wrongdoing, calling the allegations demonstrably false. That is the factual skeleton. The political flesh around it is uglier. Black paid Epstein about $170 million for what he described as financial services, and his name sits inside a larger network of money, leverage, and elite impunity. This was never just about one man's conduct. It was about what institutions will tolerate when the accused is wealthy enough to hire silence. The misdirection machine. The usual public language failure is to frame scandals like this as messy personal disputes, as though abuse, NDA, and billion-dollar relationships are all just unfortunate complications. That framing serves the powerful. It turns deliberate systems of concealment into ambiguity. The source points in the opposite direction. Black's NDAs are not a side detail. They are a mechanism. His friendship with Trump is not gossip. It is evidence of social insulation. The subpoena is not theater. It is what happens only after someone with leverage tries to evade the process. The story is not confusion. It is the predictable behavior of a man accustomed to being treated as too important to corner. The Epstein economy. Epstein was not only a predator. He was an infrastructure node for elite corruption, and Black's role in that world matters because it shows how abuse is financed, normalized, and protected. The leaked Maxwell emails suggesting she may have considered offering Congress information about Black for clemency, as Julie K. Brown noted, only deepens the picture. Even prison becomes a bargaining table when the rich and connected are involved. This is the logic of the Epstein ecosystem. Everyone nearby becomes either a witness, a beneficiary, or a shield. Money buys proximity. Proximity buys silence. Silence is then sold back to the public as uncertainty. Institutional cowardice has a signature. The House Oversight Committee did what it could in a system built to lag behind the people it investigates. The subpoena matters precisely because Black tried to behave as if the committee's authority were optional. That is the real contest here. Not whether he can deny the allegations, but whether a billionaire can simply refuse the inconvenience of scrutiny. The story also shows how often institutions arrive late, after the damage is already done and after the network has spent years laundering itself through prestige. Congress is not uncovering a mystery. It is arriving at the edge of a trail that wealth, NDA, and elite relationships helped obscure. What this story really shows, the pattern is not hard to name. Rich men do not merely escape accountability. They outsource its costs to everyone beneath them. They fund silence, cultivate allies, and let lesser institutions absorb the humiliation of asking obvious questions too late. Leon Black fleeing a congressional interview is not a glitch in the system. It is the system speaking plainly. When power is this concentrated, accountability always has to catch the guilty running. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article. With the automated voice of Clara, thanks for listening.